Hello, my name is Mackie, McCole Mackie, and the first event I went to was the Best Night Ever show at Lincoln Lodge. I went with my classmates, Miguel and Jalen, and it was actually my very first comedy show. I have never been to one before, never been to a play, so it was really cool to get to experience something that I was learning about in class, public speaking. Um, the vibe was really good. I enjoyed it from the moment we walked in. It was new. It was a very new space for me. It seemed really chill. It wasn't a lot of people in there. Um, they had an open bar. I got me a little water on the rocks. So that was real nice. It was cool just to bond with some of my classmates, with something that we were learning about. The show began with a guy. His name was Paul. He started the show. He was cracking a couple jokes in the beginning. Um, So the area it was a stage, but it wasn't like a tall stage. Like we were all almost eye level, but like we were sitting down, but he was standing up, and the lights were like down on him. He had a mic and he had like a beer in his hand. It was real chill. He was just chopping it up, cracking jokes, just to getting us, a little more comfy. Um, um, Miguel, Jalen, and I, we were all the youngest ones there, but we were also early, so we were like right in the front. So um a lot of the comedians, well, almost all of them were picking on us, saying how young we were, um just cracking all jokes, just picking on us all night. But it wasn't nothing that made us upset or anything. It was something that we enjoyed. It was very, very comical. It was very funny. Um, so it was about five comedians who went. Um, it was it was like two dudes and it was like three girls. Um, One thing I did notice was that a few of them had like pads, like notepads with like writing on them or like little notes. Um, The ones that did have them though, they weren't really looking at it a lot or really at all the whole time. They might peek at it after a couple jokes to like keep themselves like aligned, like going. It was interesting to see about different aspects that we talked about in class that I hadn't really gotten to see like live, such as the notes. Um, we could tell um, by looking at them, by their body language was something that we also talked about after the show. We could tell like some were nervous, some were just making stuff up as they went. Cause that's stuff that we um worked on in class, which is something that made it like a little bit more satisfying because we were learning about it as well as seeing it, like witnessing it for our own eyes with people who have nothing to do with our class. They have no knowledge of it or anything. Um, One speaker that stood out was probably the guy who welcomed us. He wasn't like on the list, but he was like leading it. He was really cool. He was really engaging. He interacted with almost everyone, cracking jokes. But it really showed how important is the first impression is because it can leave a lasting impression on how the show goes and how the audience interacts with the other artist, how the crowd interacts with the other artist going. For my second event, I came home and I actually went to my high school's football athletic banquet, at the banquet at the end of the year that that we used to have, for the awards, for like the team members awards, the MVP of the season, the offensive MVP, defensive MVP. And so the way they do it, the players who won, they are notified that they win before the banquet. So they have to write little speeches and they're encouraged to have notes. It was interesting this year because none of them had notes. They just spoke on how they felt about everyone on the team, how they did, how they could have improved, what they're thankful for. It's always a bittersweet moment, especially in high school, where it feels like so much has been accomplished, but so little has been accomplished at the same time. Their speaking styles were, I'd say, pretty similar. They kind of lacked an eye contact, which is something that I pay attention to from Nikki's classes because it's something that we worked on so vigorously through different activities every Tuesday and Thursday. The pacing as well. Some of them were a little more fast paced than the other ones because I would say that they're nervous, but the delivery came through for all of them. They got their point across. It was something that I enjoyed watching because I feel like I can see it and break it down to where it's more than just listening to what they're saying. It's how they're saying it, what their voice sounds like, what their facial expressions, the little playing with the ear or scratching the head, little subtle things that not everyone pays attention to. Um, they all seemed prepared. Like, as they should be. I can see them as myself because I was in their shoes not even 2 years ago when I won the team leadership award. Um, I didn't think that I would have even more learning experience in public speaking because it's something that everyone does to a certain extent. And some people have different ways of preparing themselves. But I'm thankful that I had Nikki's class and I had Nikki as a professor to be able to hold myself to a high standard in being able to talk in front of people and not be afraid or have certain techniques that I can use to my benefit. The event began with one of the head coach. He began speaking, and I always feel that to be a head coach, you have to be a good public speaker because you have to be able to get your point across and verbalize in a way that it's not really asking, it's more telling to like directions, and that is something that my high school's head coach, I think, is really good at, getting his point across and speaking very well. The third event that I had went was online. It was also when I got home. It was I was a little bit late to it because of the banquet. The banquet started at like 4, and the online congress started at like 6:30, so I was a little bit late. But I was able to listen to the pastor preach, and it was something that I always grew up with, something that I am very accustomed to, with different preaching styles and different pastors giving their messages different ways. The one from tonight, he did not have any notes. He well, he did, but he had an iPad, and he was just swiping along as he went. But very rarely did I see him stop to look at his notes and stop talking. He was very flowing with it, and his message made sense. And he also used a lot of the qualities that we were learning about in Nikki's public speaking class, as with the ethos, logos, and pathos. He was using facts um, to grab the audience's attention with something that we can relate to, on not just a factual level, but also a personal level, stuff to really drag us in and help us really understand his message that he's trying to get across. Um, the event that I went to, the pastor did preach, but it was a congress. So Congress here is this big this it's like a big organization with hundreds of churches that all come together, and it's um, church workshops that people from all over the United States come together to learn more about God. Um, Before the pastor started preaching, they carry out devotion, they carry out hymns, they also sing songs, and the whole atmosphere of church in general, whether it's online or in person, is very captivating, because um, it's very attention grabbing. If it's something that interests you or something that you may be going through, it's very easy to get sucked into the message and seeking understanding of how to grow past your problems or issues or any of that. Um, Growing up, the best pastors that I seen actually did have notes. He always had a Bible, and then he always had a little notepad that he referenced to. That is something that I seen good speakers practice, taking notes, but also doing research on the topic, um, digging deep further past the word and the scripture, and cracking it open to a new meaning. How we can grab pieces from the text and apply it to our lives, so we can do better. Um, the theme for tonight, it was locking in. It was, for lack of better words, it was locking in and doing stuff that we need, it, doing stuff that we don't want to do to get the results that we want. And that was very impactful. And he gave a lot of good scriptures to back it up. And it was a really good experience. And for the fourth part, the what I have taken from this public speaking class, from the very beginning of this class, the very first day that I walked in, I could tell that it was going to be different. From Nikki's energy, it is not something that you can ignore easily. It is something that I would say is very contagious. It is very easy to get on Nikki's flow and really start to be engaged in her class and what she has to say, because she breathes it. It like gets pushed out of her, and it's sticky, and it sticks to everyone in the classroom. And that is something that I experienced in Nikki's class. One of the biggest takeaways that I got from Nikki's class was to be myself, but also be myself to the point where I can grow comfortably with being uncomfortable, because that is something that is really big with public speaking, is being uncomfortable. You're not always going to be comfortable. You're not always going to be, it's not always going to be easy, but it is something that you can get done through several steps. And these are not in order, but one of the most important ones is to breathe. Before you begin to practice, before you even start, make sure you breathe. Clear your mind and let all the negativity get exhaled out of your body, so you can collect yourself and be ready to present. Other things was body language. When you're speaking, your body can speak just as loud as you can. When you're standing in front of people and you're rocking side to side and moving forward and backwards, when you're playing with your fingers, it's distracting, and it might seem not like you're not locked in all the way. But when it's something that is important to you, which Nikki always emphasized, if it's important to you, it will show. You will care. And that is something that I learned about Nikki, that she does not like BSing. She does not like playing around. She doesn't like half-assing stuff. She wants it done, and she wants it done good. She doesn't want it to be last second. She doesn't want it to be subpar. She wants you to go past the limit. She wants you to exceed expectations, and she will treat you like it. She will hold you to a high standard that not only you need to hold yourself at, but everyone around you, because that is how you be successful. When you hold yourself to a high standard, you refuse to let subpar seep in and get to you, because that's when you start to fall back and become lazy. Overall, I am very appreciative of Nikki. This class was different. And I say that in the best way possible because she really showed me that holding someone to a high standard is should not be anything but what you should do, because when you don't hold yourself to a high standard, it's hard for you to do good in other aspects, not even just sports, but in the classroom as well, because you want to do good. Thank you.